Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I can see there are already almost 40 of you. That's brilliant. Yep, I'm going to just type something in the chat so that you can see where it is. Hi, everyone. Just that. Yep. I hope you're doing okay. We're going to wait just a couple of minutes so that everyone can join, who can join today. And if not, there will be a recording, so it's all right. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Naveen. Anjika, Kelsey, Hidre, lot of people. Some names I know. Hi, Annalisa. Hi, everyone. So I guess you can hear me right and you can see me correctly, although I'm a bit too bright. It's a strange thing with light, but Belgium is really rainy today. So I'm trying my best with the little bit of light, natural light we have. I have all my lamps around. Ooh, people from all around the world. That's always nice to see. Melbourne, London, Denmark, Indonesia. That's brilliant. Belgium here, a bit less fun, maybe, but I love it. The Netherlands. Hi, neighbor. Canada. Oh, that's brilliant. So many people from all around the world. That's great. From Mexico. Hi, Daniel. Also Mexico, of course. That's great. There are some names of people I just met at conferences and things like that. So it's always nice to see you online. And I'm sorry, I can't see your little faces today. You're just going to see me and hear me. But we can exchange maybe another day live. All right. Let me maybe just give a couple of minutes more to people who might still join and just test out the system, because I gave the same webinar yesterday in French, but my PowerPoint wouldn't work. So let's see if it works. If it's okay for you, I'm going to try and just share my screen and we'll see if it works today or not. I'm going to share my whole screen. Let's see how it goes. So could you just let me know if you can see the LSP.expert Deep Dive, Maximizing Productivity with Lesser Known Features, which is the theme of today. If you didn't know, welcome. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and go back to this one. Let me know if you can see it. Yes, perfect. I think I was using not really the right browser yesterday. I'm a keen user of Mozilla Firefox, but sometimes it doesn't work for things like that. So I'm in Chrome today. Perfect. Okay. Maybe we're going to start with just showing you around, because if it's the first time you are using Livestorm, which is a great platform for webinars, maybe you don't really know your way around. So I guess you found the chat because I saw so many of you saying hi right there. Just left of that, you should have a questions section. You just have to ask your questions here. So I'm going to type in here for questions. Yep. And I'm going to get a special alert just letting me know that there is a new question that I should answer. And I can live answer or answer typing in whenever needed. So please, if you have any questions, use this section of the webinar platform so that I can just focus the right amount of attention and time on that section and on your questions. If you already have some, please go ahead and type them in. Use the chat just to chat with your colleagues, because we are all colleagues here. And maybe my first question would be, maybe I can try and add a poll. That could work. Oh, maybe not. That's going to be a bit of a pain in the ass. Maybe just type in the chat if you are a translator, an interpreter, a bit of both, or a completely different species of linguist or non-linguist. So I myself am a translator. Hi, Mikael. LSP. Translator, localizer, PM. Translator, PM is also a copywriter. Perfect. Bit of both. but mainly translator. Yeah, usually it's a bit of both, but mainly one of those. Translators. I can see a lot of LSPs today. So hi guys. Newbie translator in midlife crisis. Hi Paolo. Welcome to the team of midlife crisis people in translation. I think there's a lot of you. I didn't have to go through that. I had my midlife crisis when I was like 20, and then I decided I wanted to be a translator. But anyway, yeah, perfect. And are you already a user of LSP.expert or not? And if you are, do you feel confident with it? Are you at a stage where you start just advising your colleagues about that, or just discovering? So the idea of today's webinar is just to get you through maybe some less known features that I really like as a translator, and I know can be useful for a lot of colleagues. So yeah, still discovering it. I have to say I'm still discovering it too. I'm here as an ambassador, but I'm first and foremost a translator, so I'm a user myself. Newish user, but a lot to learn. Yeah, we were saying yesterday with one of the people who were attending the webinar in French that we are just using basically a quarter of the half of a quarter of LSP.expert completely. So yeah, some people are using it for years. And usually that's the thing. I've been using it for years and I'm still discovering things. So hi, Agostina, welcome. Yeah, new user, 2 months. I know. Perfect. Okay. Good. So I always ask these kinds of questions so that I know who's attending. So please feel free to really ask your questions in the questions section, and then to chat with each other in the chat, just because it's a bit of a different format than what you might have been used to for the webinars. I try and make it a bit more interactive for this one, because it's all about sharing your tips and tricks with your colleagues for me today. So I'm going to switch quite a lot in between screens, sharing my screen, showing my face, then sharing my PowerPoint presentation, so that we can go through the whole thing. If you ever want me to dive a bit deeper in anything, just let me know. So I'm going to try and share my screen again. Just send me an alert if you cannot see everything I try and share. So what I want to share first is just, well, the welcome thing. So this is a webinar about diving into the lesser known features of my beloved LSP.expert. But first and foremost, what I love is presenting the team, because it's just basically the four of us, some people joining in and some people not. But the main people in the team are Caroline and Cédric. You can hear from my accent that we are French speaking. We are from Belgium. So Caroline, she's a translator, and Cédric, he's the IT guy. He's the husband of Caroline. And Caroline was just getting fed up with all the things she could find that were supposed to help her manage her translation business, up until a point where Cédric told her, okay, I'm going to create a little something for you. This became LSP.expert, and then this became the LSP.expert you know today. We are at the second version, which Cédric has done a great job on, I think, as a user. And yeah, those are the two main people of the team based in Belgium again. And then there's two more of us. First is Eva-Lena, and I promise we didn't make any kind of, I don't know, anything about complicated names, but that's the way it is. Eva-Lena Vermeersch, and I'm Anne-Sophie de Klerk, which are a bit of a mouthful of names. So Eva-Lena is in charge of productivity and marketing for the team, whereas I'm usually in charge of webinars. Eva-Lena used to be a translator, and then she just changed gears. I'm still a translator, but mostly focusing for LSP.expert, not on translation because it's a French-written website, but on webinars and just meeting you online where I can introduce you to LSP.expert. And I've seen some of the names I know in the chat, which is always great. So that's the four of us. Usually when you interact with the team through the chat or through the hello@lsp.expert address, it'll be Caroline or Cédric. And then I'm the one just showing my face all around the internet. So the menu for today, I guess you can guess from the title that it's all about maximizing your productivity, which means basically maximizing your time. So our time is the most precious resource we have. We all have the same amount of it, but we don't have the same way of spending it. And we tend to spend it not always wisely. And it's really important to get a sustainable business, to know where your time goes, where you put your resources, your energy, your time, and your money. So that's what we're going to focus on today. And the main thing with that is all about the repetition of tasks, because you know that administrative tasks are the one that are coming back and back and back again. So this is going to be the big focus of the webinar today. As I said before, I'd like it to be a bit more maybe interactive than it usually is, just because I'm going to show the features I'm really in love with and use as a translator. But I can see that there are so many of us right here today, and also LSPs, which have a bit of a different way of working around translation projects, basically, and interpretation projects also. So feel free to really just send in a chat all the tips and tricks you might have that can be useful to colleagues. Okay, I'm going to try and stop regularly to check out the chat and the questions box, so that I can answer any question and just maybe, just talk about the subjects you want to talk about. Okay. So as I said, and this is the main thing with administrative tasks, it's that big "we will meet again," or as Arnold would say, "I'll be back." That's basically the main thing with administrative tasks, is that they're going to repeat and repeat and repeat again and again and again, forever and ever and ever, up until the end of your career. So what we try and do with LSP Expert and different kinds of options you have in the software is just to help you tackle this repetition side of things. Okay, so I'm going to go through maybe quite well-known features at first, and then dive deeper down to lesser known features. Okay, at this point I'm already going to stop sharing my screen and go back to the chat so that I can see if there is any question here. I can see new people here. Hi. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher your name. Jochen from Germany, and Alberto. I know your name too. Okay, perfect. I can't see any question right now, so I'm going to share my screen again, but it's going to be a really short screen sharing, just to explain what is really important for me to give you as an advice. If you went from the first version of LSP Expert to the second version of LSP Expert. So if you're a new user and you are only used to the new and second version of the software, you might not know this, but at the beginning, there was no distinction between services and language combinations, language pairs. It was all in one service. There were no as many distinctions in prices as there are now. So if you've been a version 1 user before, you might not have updated everything. So the basic software is, of course, updated. That's the big reason why we are in the cloud. It's just to make sure you get the updates anytime there is one out. But maybe you've decided that you don't want to update your language combinations, that you don't want to create this, that you don't want to update your services. And I can certainly understand. I just made it like 2 weeks ago because I wasn't sure about just doing it and not losing anything, because you can't lose any data if you don't delete it in LSP Expert. That's the idea. But just because I thought it would be just a pain in the ass to go through that process and make sure that everything was updated at the level of my clients, of my partners, my prices and everything. But really it took me half a day, because I don't have that much. Maybe if you're an LSP, you're going to need maybe 2 days to do it. But I would strongly advise you to do so, just because you're going to get a clearer sense of the services you keep on providing on the language combinations that are still up to date for you. For example, I noticed that at the beginning of my career, I offered the creation of glossaries. This is something I hate doing, so I stopped doing it. But it was still in my list of services. So I disabled this service, kept it for my records and everything, but I just disabled it. So maybe I'm going to show you if you're not sure about how it works. So now you should see a list of jobs in my demo account. That's not my own account. So what you would do is go to your settings and just set up new system values. So for example, if I had interprétation, révision, and traduction, and I stopped offering interprétation, what I would do is I would just disable interpretation so that it would still be in my system and taken into account in my reports, and all the kind of information I would want to keep administrative wise, but it wouldn't appear as an option whenever I create a new job. And that's something, so the disable able some service is something you can do not only in your services, but also in your language pairs, in your units, matches, and everything. So it can be quite useful to just take maybe a couple of hours to make sure that you update that. And it's not only something for those of us who went from the first version to the second. It's really important to do it regularly to make sure that you keep up to date with what is really your business right now, knowing again that nothing gets lost in the system, everything is kept for your records and everything, but just to help you have a clearer view on what you're doing right now. Okay, so that would be my really first piece of advice, which is not that big and which is something you might know of course, because you have set up your settings yourself at the beginning, or just changed them like a couple of months ago now already. So that was just my first piece of advice, which is not that big, but which is super important for me. I can't see any question, but I can see that Marta is typing, so I'm gonna just wait around. Maybe. Hey, great piece of advice. Great, thank you. So it's just something. Yeah, keep on updating your job. You keep on updating your language skills and your relationships with your clients. So keep on updating just the administrative side of things. It's gonna help you have a really more peaceful life, I think. Okay, so that was the first one, not revolutionary, but something that maybe you needed to hear today. Second piece of advice I'd like to share with you while sharing my screen, because why not share more and more things, is to track your time. This is something you may already be doing, or maybe not. I'll just go back to the chat just so that you can tell me if you are already just tracking your time for your translation or interpretation or management missions, or if you do it also for other things. So people saying yes, which is a good thing. I'm the kind of person who's timing everything. So that's a goal. With a very simple tool called Time Panic for Birgit. Yeah. Tracking time with another app. Yeah. So maybe some of you use, oh, I lost the name now, but I've been using a good one with a red toggle, something like that. Yeah. So I use that. Yeah, toggle. Thank you. So that can be, yeah, a nice tool too. I personally stopped completely using toggle just because I use only the time tracking in LSP.expert. Now I'm using labels to know what I've been doing. So yeah, okay, perfect. So for those of you who don't track their time now, it's okay. Just know that there is an integrated system in LSP.expert that allows you to track your time, which can be really, really rich in information, not only for your clients, but also for yourself, regarding the way you're going to invoice an hourly paid job. but also to know a bit more about how you work yourself. Okay, so yeah, Toggle is what you're using, Rebecca. It's a great tool. It's just that it's not inside of LSP.expert, which is my main tool now. But yeah, I've been using Toggle for a long time before just switching completely to LSP.expert. So I'm going to share my screen again. Yep, my whole screen. Yep, just one. Perfect. So timing your time, for those of you who are quite new to LSP.expert, is something that is really simple to do. You just have to click right here on the little timer on the right side of any job you might have created, and it's going to start tracking your time. Nice touch and new touch that I quite appreciate is that now in this side of your screen, you should see the time you are spending on your task. I'm the kind of person who would tend to forget I started the timer. If you're in the team, I forgot my timer, please raise your hand. And just let it go for a long time, sometimes 12 hours, sometimes 20, just because I forgot I just launched it. But then this helps me remind that I just start timing my time for a job in LSP.expert. So thank you, Cedric, for thinking of all of us oblivious of the clicking importance of your time. So you can see that the time is just passing right there. What happens is that the system will calculate minute by minute how much time you spent on a task, which can be of really importance if you are on an hour-based invoicing. So minute by minute can be nice just to let your client know how much time you spent exactly. If you don't want them to know exactly how much time you spent, at the very least, it's going to help you analyze the time you spent yourself, the money you need to ask them, but also know about your performances and basically what you do well when you are translating or interpreting. So interpretation is another kind of thing because you don't really relate on time for that. You'll just get paid by the day or half day. But for translation, revision, copywriting, things like that, it might be really interesting to get paid by the hour. So what it's going to do is that tracking your time will help you know your profitability. Okay, so knowing basically how much you made in 1 hour for that kind of service you offered. And then also know your performance, knowing how much time you needed for this amount of words. Okay, so that's important just because it will help you schedule maybe better your new assignments. But also just because you're going to be able at the end of maybe a trimester, maybe the year, maybe 2 years, I don't know how you work for that, but to access a report that's going to let you know the time you spend by services, for example, or your performance by service, or your margin by client and things like that, which will help you manage your business better in the long run, just to know which are the profitable sizes of your business, which are the less profitable but maybe more enjoyable size of your business, and then make informed choices about what you should keep on offering as a service, what maybe you should stop doing. That's the reason why I stopped doing glossaries. It would bring me virtually no money. I would spend a great lot of time on that and not enjoying it at all. So I decided to drop this side of my business. Okay, so that's the tracking of time. Again, for the new people here around, if you want to stop tracking your time, you can do it right there. You can do it from the jobs list, or you can do it from here. Click on stop tracking my time. If you want to modify anything, if like me, you forgot to stop your timer, you can modify the information that has been recorded by LSP.expert, and you can also manually add a time. And I have to thank Cedric again with all my heart, because I'm the kind of person who cannot count for the life of me. I cannot count anything. So counting time is really hard. I have to count on my fingers. I just have 10 of them. So I got lost quite quickly. So I do know is I use the end date calculation system, which allows me to just put a starting time and an ending time for any kinds of task I'm just tackling that day, which helps me a lot to calculate my time. Okay. And I think that's it for the time tracking side of things. I'm going to go back to the chat now before we dive into making cookies. Maybe? I'd love that, honestly. Okay, so I'll stop sharing. I'm going to see. Yeah. So yeah, useful to see it on the tab. Yeah. A big shout out to Cedric, who thought about that to help us people. Susan asking, can you restart the timer after stopping it? Yes, of course. So anytime you start again working on the task, you start the timer, stop it whenever you want, and then start again. So what you're going to have is a list of all the portions of time you recorded, which is cool also. The reason you don't use the time is because it creates an invoice long after the job is finished. I didn't get that, Rebecca, but it's okay. Yeah, exactly. So you need to create the job before you start tracking your time in it. And if you started working on the job before switching it to an hourly based job or start tracking your time, you should make sure that you just activate the slots of time you want to be taken into account for everything here. So how do you stop the timer, Julie? Julie, sorry, maybe. I didn't see if you typed it in before I showed or not. But if not, there is just on the left side of your screen a little red button. You just click there, or you stop it from the list of jobs, or you stop it from inside the job directly. Andika, who's asking, is there any way to convert all services to new services from the old jobs? So yeah, what you could do is, so you cannot change all at once, just because it would be a bit too dangerous for you to manage it. So what you could do is just edit also the services you had. So for example, what I did is I had translation English into French and translation Spanish into French services, and I converted one of those in translation because I translate mainly from English into French. So that was my main translation service. And then I just changed this one. Yeah, and you can totally add the language pair later. Yeah, so you can create a service which wouldn't have a language pair. So I have a service which is called just meeting, because I have quite a lot of meetings with my clients. I only work with direct clients, which implies a lot of meetings and talks and phone calls and things like that. So I have a service which is called meetings. And for this one, I don't have a language pair. So this is, yeah, it is mandatory. I go to the question side of things and try and order by date. Yeah. So first is Naveen. Is it possible? I'm trying to live answer. Is it possible to track time for other tasks that are not linked to a job, such as regular admin and other things? Yes, you can do that, but you would have to create a job. So what I did for a couple of years is I had a false job that was called admin or prospection or marketing, things like that. So I had several jobs which were unpaid jobs, which were just the administrative things I was supposed to do as a translator, and I would track my time for those. So you can totally do it. And we have some colleagues who create their main translation job, for example, then they have a revision job, and in the same group they would have an admin job, which would help them time all the time they spend on unpaid work for any kind of project or job. Yeah. Next is Hidre. I'm sorry if I'm just butchering your names again. The feature that is missing for me is statistics of the time spent in 1 day week. Yeah, still you struggle to know if you reach your time objective every day, 6 to 8 hours. Oh my God, you work too much. And I would like to have the option to see on LSP.expert how much I have worked in 1 day a week. Yeah. So you're not the only one. I'm one of those people too. And this is something Cedric is planning on working on. So the main thing would be to be able to label the chunks of time you're working on, and then in the reports you would have more information about that. So this is something we are thinking about. Technically, it's not done yet at all, but yeah, you're not forgotten, timing people like me. The tracking time tribe, we should be called that. Yeah. Next is Susan. Can you restart the timer after stopping in the same project? Yeah, you can do it. No problem at all. I already answered this one, I think. Then Cassie, will LSP.expert be adding seconds to the time tracking functionality? That's the only thing that keeps me from using LSP.expert instead of Toggle. Yeah, that was big. That was a big of a problem for me at first too. No, we're not planning on adding seconds right now, but it has been asked for. So this is something we honestly have a list of options we are considering adding to LSP.expert. So it's know that it is now being recorded, and I know that this is something some people will ask for. Thanks. Marta, I use another app. How could I track time for unpaid tasks in LSP? So I guess I answered while answering Naveen's question. Yeah, so basically you just create a task that is unpaid in LSP.expert. You can choose a title you want, and then you structure your time from that. When I was doing that, I would create those administration, marketing, prospection tasks each and every month, so that I can know the time I spent on that and have like a weekly calculation of it. Yep. Next, sorry, I'm going. It's a bit strange the way it shows the questions to me, but it's okay. Sachin, is there any way of tracking time off and absences? Oh, I don't know what you mean exactly, but you would have, again, to create a job. So to track time on anything is tracking time on a job. So you would have to create a job that would be unpaid for that too. And if you're asking about maybe, I don't know, holidays or something like that, this is the kind of information you can introduce in your partner's profile. So yeah, maybe that's it. Just let me know if you need any clarification on that. Mikoto, how do you do the report? I have never done that. I'm going to show you the reports a bit later. If I forget to do it, just type in the chat that I forgot to do it, and maybe also in the question section. But there is a whole bunch of reports, and you just have to choose the right one and maybe use the filters. You need to check those informations out. Yep. And I think, last but not least, Vicky, is there a way to see how much you have billed in 1 week? I used to stop taking more work after I reached a certain point. Great. But I know, just keep taking work. Stop it. Just stop it. So yeah, what you could do is, it really depends on what you mean. Yeah, what you have billed in 1 week. Yeah. What you could do is just archive the jobs you have already billed, so that you could see the jobs that are not done yet, and that would give you an idea of what you still have to bill for 1 week. But I think you could basically just use a filter to do that. I'm going to talk about filters in a couple of minutes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Clarification for Sachin. Is there a way to track time off and absences for all team members? No. There is no way to do that. But again, you can just introduce the dates. If they are leaving for a short or long period, you could just indicate the time they won't be available. That's the only thing you can do. But it's not going to track time about that. Yeah. Okay, I can see 4 more questions, but I don't know where they are. So I guess it's all right now. Okay, I'll go back to the chat just to check it. Is there a way to start from scratch at the beginning of the year? Right now I have 16 months of bills. So if you want to start from scratch, I don't know exactly. You would like to number your bills every year. Yeah, you just have to start numbering from 0 or 1, I guess. So yeah, you can do that. You can go back to any kind of numbering you want. Just make sure that you are compliant with what your state is requiring. But you can totally do that. You can change the numbering of your bills anytime you want. Yeah, up until they are published. But until that, you can choose the numbering you want. So, for example, I have a system where my billing system is just I have the year, the month, and the number of the bill. So it changes all the time. Yeah, each and every month. Okay. I think that's it for the questions and the chat things for this section. So I'm going to share my screen again. And we're going to go through, well, I don't have to share my screen, really, because you saw the cookie already and you remember it. The image of the cookies is the one I love the most, maybe because I love cookies. It's just the idea that to be the most productive you can be when cooking, you're not going to cook, prepare the dough and bake just one cookie, and then prepare the dough and bake another cookie, and then prepare the dough and bake a third cookie. You're going to prepare the dough for all the cookies you want in the world, then bake as many as will fit in your oven, then eat them. Okay, you're batching the thing, because if you just had to go one by one, that would be really painful and really tiring. So batching is a really important idea, which is linked in LSP.expert for me with grouped actions. We have added a bunch of those with the second version. I'm going to show you some of them. And before I do, I'd like to know how many of you invoice everything basically at the end of the month, selecting everything. So my question, to be clearer, is at the end of the month, if you just invoice at the end of the month, do you invoice client by client, or do you select all your clients and then invoice everything? Client by client. Oh, guys, I'm going to change your life. Yeah. Job per job. Yeah. Okay. So I think, yeah, you're going to love LSP.expert a bit more after that. That's the reason why I kept it when I discovered that option. And it's going to be directly linked with another idea, which is filters. I don't know if you use filters already, and if you know, you can just record filters so that you can work so much more quickly after that. So I'm going to share my screen again and show you some of those options. This one took. Yes, that works. Okay, so what do I mean by batching? Sorry, going back to my list of jobs. Is that whenever I don't know, I'm going to select 3 of those jobs, okay? If you go to the action section right here, you can see that you can now edit the due date for all of them. Edit a responsible user if you work as a team. That's really important. You can manage the labels for all those jobs. So for example, it can happen that, I don't know, you have 13 different jobs that are quite confidential, but you just forgot to add the label confidential to them. You notice it and you're like, oh shit, what am I going to do? Well, no problem at all. You just select them and just update the labels, or maybe the status for all of them at once. Okay. But the best thing for me in LSP.expert is that you can invoice everything at once, and the system will create as many invoices as you have clients. Okay. Before I show you that, let me just go back to the filters idea. Okay. I'm going to just go back to the chat to see who's using the filters right now and what for. So responsible user means, yes, the user in charge. It could be your PM, or it could be the person who just landed you the job in your company. It really depends on how you work. But the responsible user is the one that is responsible for that particular task or for that particular group in LSP.expert. Yeah, it's mainly important for those of you who work as teams. So filters, not really. Yeah, filters when invoicing to show all the jobs for a particular period of time, I guess. Yeah. So usually that's something colleagues don't really use a lot, but I've grown more and more fond of the filters just because they're so practical. Yeah, okay. So let me go back to the list of jobs, okay? Instead of just, let's say I'm done with, I don't know, maybe not all the jobs. I'm going to choose these, maybe these and these, okay? Let's say I'm done with those. Yep. So bulk action, I'm going to just update the status for those and mark them as finished, okay? If I have to invoice at the end of the month, I could go through the list, see what is finished, just check it, and then invoice everything. That's fine if you have like 10 jobs at the end of the month. If you have like more, like 30, it would be really long and tiresome to do so. So what you could do is filter by job, okay? So you filter by status here, so you can see you can filter by so many criteria. It's just spinning my head. But let's filter by status, finished, okay? Let's say I just want to focus on all the jobs that are finished. So you can see now that I have jobs 1, 3, 4, and one of the 5 I had, okay? This is something I guess I saw some of you typing in the chat at the end of the month. I'll just filter the jobs that are done, finished, etc. That's good, but you could save a bit more time doing that. What you could do is just create once the filter and then save it. I don't know if you've seen it already or if you dared to click there. If I save my filter, it could be to invoice, you know, or end of month invoice or something like that. I would create a new filter. And then whenever I go to my list of jobs, if I go back to my list of jobs, what I would have to do at the end of the month is just go to my to invoice section and then select everything. And best bulk action ever, create invoices. What I do is I create invoices and archive jobs, which is another piece of advice I wanted to give you. I do that, and automatically you can see that the status has been updated, and voila, LSP.expert has created 4 different invoices because I had 4 different clients. And what I can do now is just open a new tab to check my invoice, just check everything is all right, maybe add a line, maybe add some information, and then just send the email, okay? What I could do too as a bulk action is if I go to my invoices section, if I select all of them again and want to do a bulk action on that, I could update the status again, because maybe after 1 week I check that everything has been paid or not. I can manage the labels if I want, but what I can do, and which is most important for me working with my accountant, is generate the PDFs for each and every invoice I have, so that I can send them to my accountant at the end of the month too. So as a zip with all the PDFs, or just PDFs one by one. But you could also send the emails or the reminders. But know that if you do that, you're going to send the same template of email to each and every one of your clients, which I would strongly advise against, just because I work with direct clients, but maybe for you it's okay. Yeah. So that's it for the kind of things that really changed my life. So the filter is so brilliant, because then I have all the jobs I need to see. You can know that there is no job to invoice because they have been archived, okay? Archiving doesn't mean they disappear from the system. On the contrary, they stay in the system, but they just don't keep popping into view all the time. If I want to see them, I just click on View Archive Jobs. Yep. and that's it. And I have all of them. And if I want to unarchive them, I can do it, no problem at all, unarchive. And that's it. Now I go back to my list and I have all the jobs that have been invoiced and created. The nice thing with the filters is that you can use a really high number of criteria to create your filters. So you could filter jobs from their status, the labels, the clients, the responsible user, etc., which could make your life so much simpler. I think that's it for the filters and the one-click invoicing. That's how we call it. That's not just one click, but in my head it is. So yeah. I got to the question section right away. I have some difficulties with revising a filter. So how do you do that? Yeah, so you have to go to your settings. I'm going to share my screen again. So I guess revising a filter would be changing it, editing it. If not, just let me know. Yep, whole screen again, jobs. So changing your filters, you go to your settings. That's the first way you can do it. So in your settings, you have saved filters. You click there. And then depending on the section, the kind of filter you want to edit, you can do it here. So modify it or set as a default filter for the page. This is really useful. And then here you can change the name of the filter or make it a default filter. What you can also do is go to your filter in your page. Sorry, my internet is a bit slow this afternoon. Maybe I have a cat playing with the internet. Let's hope not. Okay, I'm back to my list. You can see here that I have the to invoice filter. I can click on the filter right here, change everything I want to do here. For example, if I want to filter only the finished tasks in art and culture specialty, I don't know, I apply the two filters and then save this new filter to invoice art. That's it. It helps. It's as simple as that, theoretically. Yep. Oh, sorry, I didn't put live answer. Is there a way to filter by saying all jobs without this particular label? No, you should select all the labels you want to see. There is no except option right now. So you would have to select all the filters, all the labels, all the information you want to appear, and not the information you do not want to appear. Susan, so okay, yeah, I answered this one. Some difficulties revising a filter. Let me know if it was thorough enough for you. Next is Naveen. The issue I have with the filter is that if there are multiple pages, you have to manually go through each page and select all. That is very tiresome when there are more than a few pages. It's possible to select all items in a filter, even if there are multiple pages. Yes. So you should do it page by page. But another thing you can do, I'm going to show you right away, is that you can change things in your settings. So I'm just jumping around in the presentation. That was the last thing I wanted to share with you, but it might be good to do it now, is that one side of the website that is less visited by us translators and interpreters is the settings, and particularly the advanced options settings. The first one you have here is a section about the general options, which includes the number of items per page. So I usually stay around 20 or 30 jobs per page, but if you want to go up to 50, you can totally do that. So Naveen, that could help, I guess. Yeah. Stop sharing for this one. I think that's it for the questions. Going back to the chat. How do you archive all jobs? So Julie, what you would have to do is just select those jobs and then click on Action, Archive, and that's it. And you can do it for jobs, clients, partners, invoices, quotes, basically everything. So that's really useful. And some people are really afraid of archiving, but I've been archiving like crazy for 6 years, never lost anything, so yeah, it's okay. Yeah, I can see that it would be interesting to have more than 50, duly noted. I just let Cedric know that is an option that people would like. Yeah, perfect. And I guess it makes perfectly sense for PMs And for companies, just for freelancers, maybe 50 is already a lot in a month, although it happens. But yeah, hundreds of items that you want to do a batch task on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'm gonna just let Cedric know that this would be, yeah, something you would like, of course. That's always nice to know what you guys need. Okay, another question before I dive back in. What is the real benefit of archiving? Just having a clearer view of the jobs that are still active in your system. And also really updating the three-part information section you have on the upper part of your screen. I'm going to share again. Yep. So this particular section, which you can activate or deactivate in your advanced settings too, is interesting to see how you're doing right now. But it takes into account all the jobs that are considered active and not archived. So what I do is at the end of the month, I will archive everything that I'm done with so that I can see what I'm focusing on for this month, not only in my jobs, but also in the amount I'm going to get at the end of the month. Yeah. So that's for me the main interest of doing that, of archiving. Same for the the clients. In this example, I have only 5 clients, but I personally have more than 50. So what I do is that I will have clients that will just keep on working with me, which stay in the active client side of my LSP.expert software. And then I would have the archived clients that I can unarchive if they come back one day or another. Yeah. So that's useful. And maybe when we are on that, I'm going to just point out that you can pin things in your lists of clients, of partners, of services, prices, etc. The nice thing is that they're going to appear in yellow if you don't put your mouse on it, like that, which means they're going to appear first of the list, even if usually this is an alphabetical order presentation. So that can be really nice. I do it particularly for the jobs. So whenever you create a job, if you have favorite services or favorite language combinations, what's going to happen if you have favorites is that you can see right here that Agatha has been pinned already. So she's the first client that's going to appear whenever I create a job. So that's something that can be quite useful to do too. And to do so, you just have to go to your list of clients, click on the little red dot on the right and pin. And then that's it. If I click there, Beatrice will appear as my second most important client in my list. Same for the jobs, same for the groups, etc. So the jobs right there, I just ordered by date. What I can do if I know that maybe this interpretation job will ask of me a lot of work is I'm going to pin it. So it's going to appear on the top of my list anytime I go through LSP.expert. So really using the filters, the favorites, meaning pinning things, and save really your filters and your favorites will help you tremendously if you keep on working with the same people about the same tasks. And talking about that, there is another important thing in the settings. So again, in the advanced options, I lost my idea here, but it's okay. So what you can do is whenever you create a new job, you can ask LSP.expert to populate the job automatically. Meaning that whenever you create a new job for a client you have worked for, like maybe the week before or a month before, it's going to create a job that will fit the same requirements as the one you already worked on, so that you don't lose time on doing that. For example, I usually do the same, offer the same kind of services and language combination and prices to certain clients. For those ones, I know that whenever I create a job, it's going to be always kind of the same job. So it helps a lot to use this option. Okay. Let me check the time. Okay, we have 5 more minutes. I'm going to dive into the questions here. How to add a new label to show that the job has been translated but isn't yet finished. Yeah, we have been toying with the idea of creating a new status for that. But what you can do is, sorry, losing my voice here, is create just a label that you're going to attach to the job. And in order to do that, yep, different options, sharing my screen again. Yep. What you could do is with your job right there, you could, well, select different jobs and add labels to them. So manage labels. I don't have any in my system right now. So what you could do is add this one, create another one, and then add it to your job. Other option is go through your settings, and you can see that you have a labels thingy here. For your jobs and groups, you could add a new label that would be, I can't remember what it is, but has been translated but not revised yet. Maybe it would be to be revised. You choose your color, the one you like the most. And right now you have a new label for your jobs and groups, and you could add this label to this particular job, managing it right here or from the list of jobs. Okay. Yep. Stop sharing again. Can still show the reporting. Yeah, I'm going to do it right away, just taking on the 4 other questions here. Okay, so Olivier done. Vicky, so if I archive a week, I will see how much I'm doing a week at the top there. Yeah, exactly. That was what I was trying to explain. I realized it was not that clear before, but that's the idea, yes. Corinne, if in the new version, the full stop in the numerical keypad does not seem to function as a decimal point comma any longer. Is that correct, or am I doing something wrong? You're not doing anything wrong, Karen. I'm going to show you what might be happening is that maybe there is a new thing in the settings again. So guys, really go to your to the settings section, the advanced options. It's really interesting to dive into this one. But also in your own profile, Karen, if you go there, you're going to see that your localization settings have been set to a language for the website. But also, I think that's what you're talking about. You have a browser localization settings that depends really on how you set up your own browser. So for me, it's French, France French, because there is no option for Belgian French here. But what you could do is either let it be as it is, so you can check how the numbers will appear here, or you could override your options and choose the one that fits you the best, okay? There is also something maybe in the document settings that could work for you. The document and emails configurations, you can check right there also that everything fits the way you want to communicate with your clients. Yep. This one is done. Real benefit of archiving, we've done that. Okay, and so Mikoto, I'm going to show you the reports now quite quickly. Yep. There we go. So the reports, you have a whole section here. So again, sorry, I'm going to go back to my list of jobs, which is the default view you're gonna get to whenever you log in. If you go to the last bit here, click on reports, you have a whole bunch of them. And this is also something that could help you tremendously with your productivity. The ones I was talking about before are, for example, your performance here. So if I click here, I don't have any available data right now because I haven't finished a job. I haven't calculated my time for any of them. But what you would have right here is basically the average amount of certain units you go through in 1 hour, which helps you know, for example, that's the way I discovered I'm really slow when I'm translating from Spanish into French, whereas I'm quite quick when I'm translating from English into French. You could have that and also filter. You can see that you have a filter here that will help you have a bit of more granular information about that. And you have a whole bunch of reports, but this is a whole different webinar, so I can't go through everything. But the ones I personally really love are the monthly sales, which shows you what you have been selling this month or any other month, and you can compare with the year before or 2 years before or 4 years before if you want to. I really love the sales by services, which helps me know which are the services that pay more for me and are more interesting to keep on offering. I really like the performance things also, but also the profitability by clients, which is supposed to show me month by month how profitable I have been for each and every one of my clients, meaning how much I made an hour for those clients. It really helps me choose between the clients I want to keep working on with and the ones I just want to ditch because they don't pay enough and I'm not enjoying enough the jobs I do for them. So those are really interesting. If you outsource quite a lot, the expenses, quantity, and jobs by suppliers can be really nice too. And the one I like maybe the most is the exchange rate loss gain, because if you work with other countries that pay in a different currency, it can be quite hard to keep up with all those changes. So this report just shows you the loss and gain you made and in changing currencies. That might be really, really short and really quick, sorry. Yeah. The report section is quite confusing to analyze, so you would appreciate a webinar for that. Yeah, that could be a nice webinar to go through each and every section and show you maybe the most interesting ones. Yeah, good suggestion, thank you. And Vanessa, in monthly sales, does the report show total of all currencies converted into your local currency? Yes. So you could have a report that would go through only one kind of currency, and then you could activate an option that would show you everything that has been converted in your own currency. And again, in the advanced settings, you could choose to convert everything at the day, the exchange rate for the day you're creating the report, or the exchange rate associated to the day you created the invoice, which is most interesting, I think. Yeah. Okay, I think I went through all your questions and I can't see anything in the chat. Julie is typing, so I'm going to stay for that. I'll maybe just share quickly my screen again. Yep. I just want to show you the address you can use to send us any email. So I'll just go through the rest of the presentation, but I showed you everything. So it was pinning what is most, the things that you use the most, so the services, language combinations, clients, etc. Filtering any way you can, and really save your filters because it can save you time, really, really a lot of time. Go through your settings, advanced settings. Don't be afraid to just play around with those. You can't break anything, really. So just try it out and see how it goes for you. And then, of course, we're here for you. So feel free to just send us an email through LSP, hello@LSP.expert. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. But yeah, you should have a quicker reply if you use this email address. And also, sorry, you have a chat button on the lower right side of your screen whenever you connect it into your account. Use it. You can reach us directly. Usually it's Caroline and Cédric answering there. But really, any kind of question is welcome. There is no stupid question at all. We know how hard it can be to start using a new tool or to dive a bit deeper in it. So feel free to reach anytime you need, of course. And I think I told it before, but really your suggestions are more than welcome. We are a really small team. There is just Cédric working on the IT side of things. But really we try and make it the tool you need. So yeah, feel free to send your suggestions, and I noted the ones that came through today. I think that's it for me. That's perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm gonna leave you to your, I don't know, maybe, what time is it? It's 4 in Belgium, so it's time for a cookie. That's nice. So feel free to just keep on playing around, asking questions, sending suggestions. We're really here and try and answer as quick as we can. thank you so much for making it this afternoon, morning, or evening, depending on where you are in the world. And then, yeah, midnight in Melbourne. Yeah, a new day for Mikoto already. Brilliant. Thank you so much. If you ever want to just rewatch this, you can. You're going to get a link to the recording in a couple of minutes, I guess. So, yeah, bright morning for Daniel and good night for Mikoto, I guess. Thank you very much. See you very soon in the chat, in a webinar, or maybe in real life. Thank you so much. Have a really good morning, day, afternoon, midday, midnight, everything, and a good life also. Take care and keep on translating and interpreting with your heart. Thank you very much. Bye. See you.